the morning of September the 1st, 2021, my whole life changed. I had been sleeping upstairs, and Gregg was sleeping on the main floor. The master's located upstairs, so Gregg had become very weak, and he needed to be on the main floor. So Gregg did hospice at home. Maybe the last 2 to 3 weeks of Gregg's life, we hired caretakers around the clock, someone that can always be there with him, because he was doing really good, but we had our restaurant and lounge, and that required a lot of time, and I couldn't be home with him. And so we hired a caretaker team that was always there with him. The morning of September the 1st, I had come downstairs, and my best friend, Michelle, was sitting with Gregg along with one of his caretakers. They had sat overnight with Gregg. Michelle would come in at night and massage Gregg's feet. Gregg really liked Michelle. He loved seeing her come in. I mean, she's super loving, and he's known her for so many years. And that morning I came downstairs, Gregg looked totally different than the way he had previously looked. And I got really upset, and I was like, oh my God, what happened to Gregg? What have you guys done to him? He was pulling and fighting and kind of like just trying to like take his shirt off, and he was just totally different. He had not ever been this way. And yes, I knew he was passing, but I just thought somebody had done something to Gregg. He did not want to take any medication like morphine and those kind of things. He didn't want anything. He wanted to go naturally. So that morning, Gregg was just looked different. He was very confused. He wasn't aware anymore. And I called our head nurse to come to the house to check on Gregg. Once she arrived, she said that she wanted to give Gregg a little bit of morphine because he was close to passing, and that he was struggling to breathe a lot. And she felt like the morphine would relax his muscles in his neck a little bit. She asked me if she could give him some, and I said yes. She gave him a very small amount. He still seemed to struggle. She gave him a little bit more, and Gregg went to sleep. He went to sleep. He looked beautiful. His barber had been there and cut his hair. All of his family was there. All of his children, his sister, all of our closest friends. We never left his side. We were with him for the last couple of weeks, like around the clock, never leaving him. I wanted him to be really, really comfortable. So I had, his feet massaged, his hands massaged. I just wanted him to look great with all the guests coming in and out of the house. I would allow people to go into his room, see him. He was alert. He would talk. Go into his room and see him, 10 minutes was enough. After that, Gregg would kind of be like, I don't feel like it. He loved watching Western movies, so he would watch Western movies all day long. And right outside of the window, there would be deers that would come, and Gregg loved looking at the deers late at night. And so that morning, once they announced that Gregg had passed, all of us kind of gathered in the front door, the foyer area of the house, and kind of held hands and prayed. And I had made arrangements maybe a week before with the funeral home to get Gregg's body as soon as he passed, and I didn't want any of the news or the blogs to get a hold to it. So I called them immediately, and they were able to get Gregg, and they were able to hold him in a private place for a few days. He didn't even go to the funeral home. He went to another location. where they kept him for a few days before taking him to the funeral home. Gregg always made it clear that he never wanted to be buried in the ground. He wanted to be cremated. Of course, I did everything that he wanted me to do. I had him cremated. He was put in the mausoleum in the wall. He never wanted a funeral, so we wanted to do something. So they talked to us about doing a repast. I thought the lounge would be a great place to do the repast because Gregg helped put that lounge together. He was there until he couldn't come there anymore, and it felt like the right place because he didn't want us to be sad. I mean, he always said, I don't want something sad. I want you guys to go on. I want it to be happy. I want you guys to celebrate me. And so we did just that. We held Gregg's repast at the Lanithia Lounge. And we invited all of our friends and co-workers and family members and just everybody to come out and celebrate. He loved gospel music. He loved Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant prayed at our house in our basement. When he first moved to Atlanta, before Jamal was just moving to Atlanta to become the pastor of a church in Atlanta. And so we invited him over to our home to bless our home, and he did that. So Gregg really liked him, had a real nice liking for him. Kim Burrell sang at me and Gregg's wedding. And we loved her. And Kiki Wyatt always sung at my house. Whenever it was my birthday or anything, Gregg loved her voice, so we would always have Kiki Wyatt to sing. We both loved Yolanda Adams so much. So I wanted to make sure that she was there singing. And of course, Tamar Braxton. Gregg loved Tamar. And so we wanted to make sure that she was there to sing. Andrea Johnson, oh my God, she lived in our neighborhood. She has a huge voice. Well, of course, we had her to sing. It was such a moving time. Everybody was there. I felt like I was, I don't know, on a cloud. I was floating. I couldn't believe this was happening. I was in shock that I was sitting front row and my husband's pictures were hanging all around. It was unbelievable to me. It was unbelievable. So, Gregg, we miss you so much. I love you so much. You said to me before you passed that it's going to be hard, baby. It is going to be hard, but you can do this. And I want you to know that it is hard. It is so hard. But I am doing it. I am doing it. I am doing it. And it is hard. You told me you will find another love one day, Nene. I don't want to find another love. Oh my God. It's not that way. I love you, Gregg. I love you. I miss you.
What's up, man?
I got a new one.
Is it gold?
24K.
Heavenly Father, let your spirit come into our home and move through, by, and touch everybody in here.
I do not fear death. I'm not ready to go. But if you're ready for me, I must be getting a promotion. I saw it on the show. If it's time, take me, but take care of my family. Take a stumbling block and turn it into a stepping stone. Don't let any experience in life change you from who you are. It's never worked.
Let them know, Gregg.
Oh, I can show
Honk the
okay.
horn on their ass. Toot, toot, boop, boop. Bam. Miss Ratchet, honey, USA.
We all have problems. The thing that we do all have is an offer of thanks to you for everything that you do for us.
starting over, being on your own, figuring out. That's the kind of fear I had. I find it very difficult to stand on stage and laugh and have a good time and give you guys your money's worth, knowing that my husband's in the hospital not feeling well. He has said to me over and over again, go out there, have a good time, do the show, I'm gonna be fine. But I find it mentally very hard for me to do. The day that they told us that Gregg has cancer, my life changed in that moment.
One more time. My body, I dream about you when I sleep. You're the one for me. You're the one for me. All signs taken ever since the day that we laid eyes on each other, baby. You're the one for me. You're the one for me. You're the one for me. You're the one for me.
The amazing thing about Gregg is that Gregg never wore a mask. He was authentic, he was genuine, and he was real. Who he was on one day was who he was on the other day. And I would say to him in private, Gregg, you ain't nothing but a runaway deacon and a runaway preacher without a stage and without a pulpit. And the real hallmark of his ministry, for those of you who are wondering why we are having this program here, is because Gregg understood that church is not stained glass windows. It is not red carpet, but wherever you have the light of Christ. The amazing thing that all of us can say is that Gregg poured out his entire life for people to be able to smile, for people to have peace, and for people to understand who they are and what they are supposed to do. A lot of you are dying full because you never pour into other people. You never make an investment into other people's lives, into other people's happiness. But the role of your life is what will you pour out for others.